Hello and welcome to the Wake Up with Gratitude podcast. I'm your host, Julie Boyer, and I am very excited to have a special guest with me today. Good morning to Sylvia. Hello.
Hi, good morning, Julie. So excited to be here with you. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, I'm really excited for this. So, Sylvia Aguilar lives in Monterrey, Mexico. And we met through this really cool opportunity we have in business together called the Power Hour. And this Power Hour is, it's a bunch of amazing, mostly women who all work together in our network marketing business. And we get together for an hour every day, Monday to Friday, and we do all kinds of different things. We do fitness, mindset, we do EFT tapping, we do meditations, we do business training, we do business work together and business challenges. And Sylvia has been doing different challenges and different things in the group. And there was something about her that made me say, would you like to be a guest on my podcast? Only having known her from hearing her on the Power Hour. And it turns out that we have a lot in common. So not only does she practice the EFT or tapping for herself, but she also teaches and shares it with others. She has a really cool group called Dancaholic, which I want to hear all about. She is a partner with me in our network marketing company. And when I went on her website, which by the way is all in Spanish, so if you don't, it's okay. She said she's going to try and do this program in English, but her program is 28 days of gratitude. And I was like, this is amazing. So I'm so excited to bring your voice and your background and everything about you and your organization and what you're doing to this community. So I know I've kind of gone on about all the things that I've learned about you so far, but I'm sure I would love to hear kind of more of your story, how you got to, you're multi-passionate entrepreneurs. I'd love to hear more about that.
Thank you, Julie, for that amazing introduction. Well, I guess my story, I'm going to start a little bit through the end and then going back to the beginning. First of all, with all this being at home period in our time, it's been amazing in the sense that all my passions finally got together. Yes, I am multi-passionate and I never thought that I could do everything I love. And well, it all started when I started finding myself. Um, I had, like, if I saw my life from outside, like everything was okay, but I always felt that something was missing. And I felt bad for feeling like that because I saw that everything was okay. So I started searching, reading, psychologists, everything. And um, coincidentally, that's when Usana came to my life. I realized that with all this searching, that I was in depression, that I was totally disconnected from me, and that's where all the resources started to help me: the EFT, the vitamins, the everything. I am proud and thankful to say that I got out of the depression without antidepressants. So um, I like to share that because I know that is a thing that many people can go through. And well, I started going on with the business. Then I got to an academy to start dancing. This was just 4 years ago. I haven't been dancing all my life, but oh my God, I discovered a passion. And it also helps me to produce dopamine, to produce all these chemicals that help you to feel happy, to feel like you've completed something, and all that goes to a snowball of positive things. Then I started to feel this need to share everything that has been working. I started going inside of me instead of blaming things outside, and discovering that the more I connected with my real self and starting being, like just being without any adjective, I discovered that I was living life fully instead of I have to, I must, like choosing, understanding all this freedom and responsibility of deciding every instant and every morning, every instant that I'm love. And from there, start making decisions, start starting my day. And I have a filter in Instagram that it's called the intention of your day. And it says, I choose. So it runs and it's like setting an intention for your day. So either you set it in love, in compassion, in gratitude, in joy. So that's the glasses that you're looking at everything and interpreting everything in your life. I'm starting to get goosebumps with your face.
Well, I just love so much what you're sharing. This is so amazing. Yeah, I'm watching the way that you're talking and I'm listening to the words and I'm like, this is so wise what you're saying. And I mean, I feel like you're talking to just me. I know that this is going to be shared with thousands of people, but right now in this moment, I feel like you're really talking to me and telling me the things that I need to hear. And I really appreciate that. There's something about you, there's an energy about you that is calming, that also helps you feel like you're safe and like everything's going to be okay. And that's a very, it's just such a gift, I think, that you have. Is this, do you think this is kind of new because of all these things that you've discovered, or were you kind of always this person that had that kind of, no, not, okay, tell me about that.
Definitely something new, Julie. And first of all, there's a phrase that I love, that everything you see in me, it's in you. And that's why you are connecting with everything that you're seeing. Definitely, I was not like this. I was all judgment, all must, all I have to. And when you live in that's good, that's bad, that's good, that's bad, you start judging yourself and judging everyone. Like, no, she's wrong. No, she's wrong, or he's wrong, or that's not good, that's bad. Stay away from that. And when you start realizing that we are all one and we are love and we have the power to decide from where we see things, is when you start connecting. Like, it's when everything makes sense and it's so conceptual that our minds maybe sometimes uh, things that is difficult, but it's so conceptual and so simple that it's going to like returning back home. And I am something else that changed my life is a course of in miracles.
Yeah.
And so seeing everything from there, you start connecting with that vibration. That's what you are transmitting, and it changed my life. Definitely, this is new. I was not like this, and it feels so good that that's why I love sharing it.
It's interesting that you mentioned A Course in Miracles. So you're my second guest in a couple of weeks that's also mentioned A Course in Miracles. So it is definitely something worth looking into, worth studying, or anything that you're studying like on a daily basis, I think can be really, really helpful. I shared a book, earlier in our Power Hour, the greatest manifesting principle in the world by Carnelian Sage, which had been shared by a previous guest, Jared Krebs. You can definitely listen to that one too. Jared and I are also connected through the same business that Sylvia and I are. And I think that's one of the biggest gifts actually of network marketing is you get introduced to different ways of thinking and things to learn about that you might not have heard of otherwise, because a lot of people that choose this profession or choose this industry will do the self-development and the investment in themselves in order to grow, which we all know leadership comes from growth. And every time you want to grow your business, you have to grow as a human being. So I can see that in you. I really love it. And I want to hear more about this Dancaholic thing that you've put together, because this is a virtual thing, right? Now, tell me what that's all about.
Yes, Dancaholic is the academy I got when I was 4 years ago, and I got to know the owners, Melvan Favec, really good. We became friends, and when all this pandemic started, when we had to stay at home, I studied computer science. So they called me to see, Sylvia, how can we do the how do you say when it's not online?
Oh yeah, no, like a they were recording them or they were doing a live streaming.
No, before they were not online. Like they
Oh,
had their dance studio. That's where I
okay.
got there.
Wow,
That's
that's a lot of, yeah, so that's a lot of work taking a studio from a physical studio to a virtual studio, basically.
exactly. They were
Wow.
asking my help
Okay.
for how can we do this? They love dancing. They don't know anything about computers and everything. So since we had become friends, I started teaching in their dance studio. Uh, so I was, of course, let me help you. And in all those conversations, we decided to associate and create Dancaholic Online. So Dancaholic Online is now the three of us. So we share dance lessons, we share something called baquetas, which is a little bit like pounds. I don't know if you know it. It's
Oh,
workouts with the drumsticks
oh, cool. Okay.
with music. So it's
Really?
functional training, and we
Wow.
share meditations and the tapping over there. So it's, we all three believe in integrative health. So we give like all the energy, the good vibes that the dancing gives us, and also meditation, EFT. With that also, for the stage that we were in, that we were all at home living all this chaos, we thought like this is perfect, so people can find integrative health here in Dancaholic.
I love that. And that you also took action and made it happen. And I think that's really important is, your studio owners said, okay, like this is happening. We're not getting people in our studio anymore. How do we make the shift? Let's get help. Let's, talk to someone in our community who can help us and make that change and then grow in that way and continue to offer what we love, even though we're not physically in studio. And I really admire that because some businesses have had to close. They've not been able to make that virtual leap. And so that's incredible. And what for you do you think, why the EFT, why the meditation? Like, why not just stick to the dance? Like, why are those components such an important part of what you guys are doing?
Well, we think that it's all mind, body, and soul, and the dancing, it goes through the physical, through the body. It also creates chemicals, like we said. However, the meditation goes to that part that you start looking inside, quieting, learning to quiet all those, the critical voice in our minds, and starting to look things through another perspective. So starting to connect with love, starting to connect with this capacity of us that we have to decide and to co-create our day and everything that manifests in our life from a curious part of ourselves, not creating from things we already lived from the past, but from this open space to create different things. Our mind normally goes to comparing, okay, this is a situation, I this is how we lived it in the past, so this is how we're going to live it. mm, that keeps us in the same little cycle. So when you start to open to the unknown, that's when you give space to creating different things. So normally we create from what we already have in our minds, but we don't give space to the unknown. And when you create from the unknown, you leave it open to what the universe and has to offer to you.
For those watching the video, you'll get this, but if you're listening to the audio, you're not going to see my like body and facial expressions during this because I'm I'm like leaning on my desk, leaning forward into my mic, going, I hadn't really thought about that. Like thinking from the unknown, because if we're thinking on what we already know, then we're repeating what we did in the past and it's not changing that. So, are you like, how would I do this? Like, am I going to do a meditation? Is the tapping part of that? Like, I'm genuinely really curious about how do I get to that place where I can co-create from stuff that I don't already know? Because I understand co-creation. I understand them, being connected to source energy, that we are unlimited beings of power and we can do all of that. I've just never heard someone say it in those words. And it really was just like a moment of like, oh, I need to understand this better. So how does this work? Tell me more. Absolutely. Tell me more.
Another synchronicity in my life is that I got to go to a workshop of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you have heard of him.
I have, yeah.
So that's where I learned everything about this. First of all, we have, and that's where it relates to the EFT. First of all, we can let things be, and the EFT helps you a lot to do that. Like, if you notice, we always start with like our negative thoughts, accepting them and letting them be, and not judging them. So that let's gives the space to, okay, everything that was in the past and that comes to your mind, okay, let it be and let it out. So now you're ready to have the space inside you. And most of the time it's our mind that is sticking, where whatever we give the energy to is what grows. So when you are sticking to those initial thoughts, the critical voice, everything, and you stick there you are, over and over, over and over and over and over, and that grows. And with that energy is that you manifest. So if you let them be, let them go, let them free, and they're always acting in our favor to survive in the more element way. And then so when we let them be and go, now you are, and you open yourself, you recognize that you are loved, you recognize that you are capable of co-creating from that space, and letting the universe or the love surprise you. But because many times we ask, like, please that this happens, like we are conditioning, maybe that was not the best for us. And if it doesn't happen and we let the space to surprise us, every time everything that happens is for our best. I
Greatest.
forgot the word.
Well, no, it's to our greatest and highest good.
Exactly.
And that's something I've shared on the pod. Like I've said that on the podcast before, is like the universe is conspiring to allow what is in our greatest and highest good, which is could be something we've never even thought of, right? Because if we're so focused on it has to happen this way, we leave no space for actually magic and miracles and manifesting something even better that we didn't even know. Yeah. Okay. Oh, geez, this is, it's like, I feel like it's free counseling for me right now. This is so fantastic. I actually wrote a note during the podcast. I was like, I have to go look at Joe Dispenza because I want to share resources for people that are, of course, in English. So I know a lot of your stuff is in Spanish at this time. So maybe we'll look at put some stuff from Joe Dispenza and some of the links for some of this work.
Yes, he's amazing. I recommend his last book.
Oh,
Because
okay.
he's been sharing, like, from a long time ago. What I'm realizing is that he's giving us like nuggets, like maybe slowly, but his last book has the complete
Oh,
thing.
okay. What do you remember the name of it?
I have it here. It's Supernatural.
Okay, Supernatural. I'm writing this down so I don't forget. Okay, so we'll make sure we link to that in the show notes, and I will grab a copy for myself. This is, yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to this again just for myself, because you're saying so many things right now that I need to hear in my own life, and I really appreciate that. And I wanted to say that, I'm in the middle of this 30 days of gratitude challenge right now. It's October, and in Canada, that's when we celebrate Thanksgiving. I'm not a big fan of the whole concept of Thanksgiving, but I am big on the concept of giving thanks and people focusing on gratitude for a month. So we've been doing this challenge, the 30 days of gratitude challenge. And I really, I just think it's so important to focus on that and to allow that to expand. And it's I do these things just as much for me as I do for the community. So such an alignment that right now you and I are having this conversation. So speaking of 30 or 28 days of gratitude, tell me about your program. Tell me about what that looks like.
Yes, we resonate so much, and I can see your body language like absorbing everything. Like, when I heard you actually this morning sharing the book and speaking about connecting first thing in the morning with love, that's what my program is about, through gratitude. So, these 28 days, we address a different theme every day. It's like the basis is also changing the beliefs and changing the perspective through gratitude. So we give thanks for our shadow. We give thanks for all the people in our lives that may make us feel great, amazing, and in peace, and that make us feel uncomfortable. Because through all those occasions that we feel uncomfortable, and I'm saying uncomfortable instead of saying bad. And uncomfortable meaning angry, sad, desperate, all those uncomfortable feelings. That's where the greatest gifts are. So all those messages are where the life is telling us the phone is ringing over here with that feeling, and that's where you have something to attend inside, not outside. So it's this journey about seeing everything, work, abundance. And it all started because I was so attracted to gratitude, but I thought like every day is like almost the same. So it's a journey where I make you realize that any notebook doesn't have enough pages to be thankful for all the things that we have. And that is also the focusing, if you whatever you focus on in grows. So if you open your eyes, and I always say to make the gratitude before putting your feet on the floor in the morning, that's what you will connect to, and that's what your energy is going to be through your day, and that's what your glasses are going to be through your day, that you're going to be interpreting every experience in your life and deciding every instant to act from love.
Oh, so good. It's just so good. It's so like powerful. And I love what you said. I don't love this, but I know this to be true. I may not like it. You are correct, is that the people we struggle with the most, the people that we have the most difficulty with in our lives, are our greatest teachers. And I find myself in resistance dealing with a personal situation where there is some serious negativity in my life, and it's very difficult for me to separate from that negativity. And I do keep reminding myself that this person is my greatest teacher, and I don't like it. I'm not enjoying that part, but it is a reminder. And a lot of what you've shared, all these things that you've shared, are all really great reminders of all the tools and things that we can do to allow ourselves to live in a mindset where we focus on gratitude and love first, and looking for the gifts, as opposed to feeling like the world is difficult and all these bad things are happening to us and to me. And I really appreciate what you've shared today. It's almost like you're saying back to me a lot of the things that I've shared over the years, but hearing it from a different voice and a different perspective and a different experience. I'm hearing them for the first time. So that's pretty awesome. So before I start crying, we're going to move on to talk about your podcast, which is Despierta did I say that right, in Spanish?
Amazing.
And you said it's really directly, it's wake up in English, but more like an awakening. So because I saw that it's been about a year since you started your podcast, and what was it that inspired you to, choose this medium?
Yes, I've been a podcast consumer since my first time that I started searching for something more in my life. And of course, they were all English podcasts because they were the pioneers. And from there, I guess it's connecting back to myself. Since I was little, I love like speaking and sharing, and I love that format. And to be honest, why I didn't do it, because of fear, because of not feeling ready, because of judgment, because of exposing myself. And well, from today looking back, everything is perfect, because in that moment, evidently I wouldn't have shared these topics. I was in another situation and seeing things from another perspective. And when finally I was like in the little ego trap, that when you start, when you look to a movie, when you watch a movie and you love it, you want everybody to watch it. And when you find resources that are helping you so much, you start like speaking to everyone about. And sometimes I was like, oh, I don't want to be that person, like saying, look, you have to look at this. And I guess it was another way to express everything. And also from the reminding myself, I am a big believer that if you want to learn something, you study it. But if you really like to dominate and make it your own, you can teach it, because the person you're the person or the people that are listening to you become your teachers, and you keep on learning and learning. So I like to say that I'm not sharing from a I already have it all perfect way. The contrary, like, I'm still a student. I keep on learning as I share. I keep all these things fresh in my mind, because it's so easy not to do it. That I love that is like the little connection, like we do Power Hour that keeps us staying connected to
Yeah.
our businesses. It's the same.
And I think, like you said, it's so important right now to hear Latin voices and Spanish speakers do podcasts, because there's a lot, the majority of the world does not speak English as a first language. Like, the majority of the world speaks a different language. And yet the podcast space has been dominated, like you said, with English speaking podcasts, which is great. But hearing a podcast in your own language, in your mother tongue, and speaking from a voice that's different, I think is really important. And I want to encourage people that, they may not be able to listen to your podcast or understand it, but they likely have people in their lives who do speak Spanish and could use this kind of messaging, and maybe they'll hear it better if they hear it in their own language. So, and I know you've been encouraged to do your 28-day program in English for the same reasons, right? Because your community is saying, well, we want to hear you in English. So I'm excited that this podcast kind of came along at that time. And, I said, maybe we can work together on some of these things, because obviously we have this really, I think it's like a cosmic connection that for some reason I invited you. I know I invited you to be on my podcast. Like, I didn't even realize you lived in Mexico. I was like, I don't really know where she lives, but I know she speaks Spanish. So, but I mean, you could live anywhere, you know what I mean? And I didn't even know that how important gratitude was in your life. So you talked about gratitude at the beginning of your day. What other ways does gratitude kind of fit into your daily or weekly routine?
Yes, it's daily in the morning, and eventually it has been throughout the day. Like learning to see all those messages. Sometimes I know it's easier to say it when you are looking at things from the outside, but as you begin to integrate this, really to experience it and live it, that's when you're starting like, oh, thank you, and you start seeing all this synchronicity, like this is happening.
Yeah.
And you start realizing that everything is perfect and being okay. Obviously not every time it's like this, like something it's uncomfortable and oh thank you. No, but you start like everything. If you start practicing it, you start getting better and better. And I always say that this never ends until we disincarnate this life.
Yeah.
So we always have things that we can keep on working, keep on making work. And the gratitude is definitely something and a resource that helps you through everything that you pass in your life. So little by little I have been integrating it to every instant in my life, especially when something uncomfortable comes, and then you start realizing, okay, let's see things from another perspective.
Oh, I love that. Gratitude does change your perspective. And especially when things are difficult, it's where can we find the gratitude in those moments, I think is for sure a lesson that we all can keep learning. Like you said, I'm a work in progress. I started this podcast out of a, project I did called 30 Days of Self-Love. I started it for myself because I wanted to learn how other people practiced self-love and kindness. Because at the time, it was just like 10 months ago. Actually, it was a year ago that I started recording and the podcast launched 10 months ago. But I was having a hard time. I was just feeling down on myself. And it's hard when you're the face of gratitude. Like my Facebook is Julie Boy, Gratitude Guru. It's hard to admit that you're having a hard time when you're the one who's supposed to be the face of gratitude. But like you said, I never promised you that, I had this all figured out. And I never promised you that I'm not going to have rough times and rough things in my life. Like, that's not the human experience. So what you're saying is so beautiful about the fact that you start with the gratitude in the morning. I tell, wake up with gratitude. And then as you grow and learn, your gratitude goes throughout the day. So I love that.
Yes, Julie, I can see how we resonate, and I love your 30 days of gratitude also, how you propose, how you tell us that we share it. And I think that we are here to live life fully, and what a great a day that you can tell the people that you are grateful for, that actually they know it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how that may change their day, and also it's like a little pat in the back through to our ego when we um, share these kind of spaces with people that we are in the same scene, in the same vibration, and we share similar way of thinking.
Well, and
And
alignment, right? It's that alignment of when you find somebody that you're like, I kind of think that way too, but I'm learning from you at the same time. It is a very special gift. So
exactly.
I've loved our time together, and I am so excited that to be sharing this with my community. Now, where do we find you? I know most of your stuff right now is in Spanish, but you said you've been doing some translation on Facebook and Instagram, or where do we go?
Yes, all this synchronicity about speaking in English and sharing my message in English. It may actually you are like the I believe in there's many signs, no, but I believe that they arrive to me in three, and you're the third one.
Yay.
So I'm finally launching my 28 days of gratitude in English. I will share you the link, so maybe you can share it when the
Of
podcast
course.
comes
Yes.
out.
Happy to.
And you can find me in my Instagram, that it's at Sylvia Aguilar MX from Mexico, and my website is the same, uh, www.sylviaaguilar.mx.
And then your podcast, Despierta. I know it's on Apple. What else does it distribute?
Everywhere.
Okay, that's good. No, that's perfect. So it's on all the, okay.
Yes.
Good for you. That's fantastic. So I think it's important that we share your podcast for those that are listening. I know I have a lot of friends who are Spanish speaking. I just seem to attract people from all different Latin countries, and I love the language. Being a French speaker, Spanish has always been close to my heart, and I love Latin culture and lifestyle, and I love learning about it. So those in my network who are listening to this, please make sure you listen to her podcast as well. Let's encourage more Spanish speaking podcasts. Even if you're not going to listen to it, maybe just add it to your favorites, because that will help. Just download a couple episodes, even if you're not able to understand. But I do want to encourage more people to be comfortable doing a podcast in their native language, sharing where they come from, what they're doing, because all this world needs right now is to listen to each other and listen to different voices, because we're not going to get through this all by ourselves. So thank you so much. I've just loved our time together so much.
Thank you so much, Julie. I love your help spirit and sharing. I love it. I resonate with that too, that we're all one. That is how my community is named around the podcast, that we're all one. And yes, the more we share, we're here to do that, to spread the love. And I love that you are sharing internationally.
Yeah, why not? Oh, well, thank you so much, Sylvia. It has been such a pleasure, such a joy. And I have a feeling I might have you back on the podcast another time. So thanks again for today.
Thank you so much, Julie.